Free Friday webinars. And we are here because of AmericanTESOL.com. We're here every Friday, and this is a special one because this is the last one of 2016. So we will have different webinars in 2017. We've been doing this for years. And so we want to share with you some ideas to help you with your learners for 2017 and how they can set their own learning goals, their own personal goals, and how you can set your own as well. We will have the recordings. We have a YouTube channel, so you may want to go over past recordings. That one's at youtube.com, and I'll go ahead and get that. The user/a TESOL. So we'll go ahead and get that to you so that way you can have it. Most of our recordings take about a week to a month to get there. So if you don't see it right away, it may just be taking time because of the holiday season. But we will be having this every Friday, so that way you can have the recordings. Of course, we also have the slides. If you go to the American TESOL blogger, we often have resources every single week. We have at least one blog post of resources that you can access that relate to the webinars, a lot of them. So let's start with goal setting with learners. There's a lot of ways that you can help your learners set goals. So I've done this for many years, and technology is a really great way to get yourself to set goals with learners as well. It makes it a little bit easier to keep motivated, keep track, and things like that. So I'll mention some web tools that are free as well, like we always do. But I think it's really important that when you think about goal setting, I think this is a really important quote. It talks about having vision. And it's important that we not only get our students to goal set, but to care about the goals, not just to make goals that they think that are important because we expect them, but to have their own personal goals, things that they really do have a personal motivation for, because goals are related to motivation. And so the most successful goals are the ones that we're really attached to. Also, there are goals that we have to have action with, and the way to have action is to have a vision. Goal setting is not only for adults. Goal setting can start with very young learners. So if you teach children, I had shared this on my Facebook a while back, but I think this is a really great way to get children to start setting personal goals. So part of goal setting is reflection, but it's also a way to start having something visual for the new year. So this is an example that you can download for free. Go to skiptomylou.org. It's a blog where she shares lots of printables, but you can adapt this in any way that you want. She even shows you how some of her students have actually created this. So on this one, your students can reflect on the year of 2016, but they can also they can talk about 2017. They can create books instead, like here it says a book that they have, and they can actually visualize it this way. So I think if you make it very visual like this, where students can color, where students say how many years old they are, they celebrate their accomplishments, and then they look forward to the year ahead. This is what I'm proud of, but this is what I would like to do next year. This is what I want to learn. This is and it could be things such as, for example, riding a bike. It could be that they want to learn a different sport. So there's different ways that they can visualize their goal or write down what they want to learn for next year. And it could be very simple. Now, if you teach teens, if you teach adults, then there's a lot more. There are many methods and systems. So it's good to get them to, you can show them different types of methods and systems. But definitely, I wouldn't marry one. In other words, I wouldn't just tell your students, okay, this is the only method or system that is the best one, because I think that each person um, accomplish goals in different ways. So if you really want to get your students to be able to set goals, then introduce them to different ones like the SMART system, and then they can adapt it, or they can decide which of the many systems work best for them. Here's an article by Mind Tools that I'm sharing in the chat box. It gives you 5 tips, and it does include, it says 5 golden rules um, for goal setting. But one of the things I like about this particular article is that it also shares the SMART goals. So SMART goals are one of those that are really, really that are one of those things that are really popular. And SMART, you can see here, it means specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time related. So this is just one of many, many systems that you can introduce to your students to be able to set goals. Now, you may know others that have worked for you, and then you can go ahead and you can share those as well. Now, this is a Creative Commons slide from Flickr. Um, and I like some of the questions it asks. It says, does it target a specific area for improvement? How are you measuring your success? Is it reachable? Is it realistic? And when would you achieve it by? Of course, that can't encompass every goal, but it gets your students discussing. They could have a discussion with this. It's a good lesson starter. It's a good way to introduce a pre-task that they can think about, they can map out, they can they can answer in pairs. So there's a lot of things you can do with this, and then you can also practice language skills, listening, all of that that is within a lesson. I think it's really important personally, and I've written a book about goal setting for teachers, and I'll talk about that later. But the 30 Goals Challenge. But in my book, I talk about goal mapping goals. So I talk about sketching out or mapping out goals. It's important to plan, come up with a plan. And so I really like this from Flickr, where this person wants to, uh, wants to do yoga. So it's not, the goal is not, I want to lose 10 pounds. The goal is, it's even more specific than I want to exercise. It's what kind of exercise? Well, yoga. And then why yoga? And this person put a little happy, face. I mean, a little happy person here. What do I want from yoga? What do they want to get out of it? Well, they want to have more balance, more stamina, strength, flexibility. So your students, they can do the same thing. What do I want from whatever they're doing? What do I want from this class? Do I want to improve my listening? Do I want to improve my writing? Do I want to be able to speak to another person in English? Do I want to be able to go to another country and be able to communicate? Do I want to be better at math? Do I want to be able to add? Do I want to do fractions? Do I want to be able to conduct science experiments? So whatever it is that you teach, get your students to figure out what do they want from, and then specifically, and then they can talk about some strategies that they come up with, or they can do this in pairs or in small groups. Here they're talking about a very, very specific plan, so I think that's really, really good. Peggy asked a really good question in the chat box. Do I recommend looking about pros and cons when you're setting goals? Yes, I think that's good. It's important to figure out, I don't call them pros and cons necessarily. What I call them is obstacles, because definitely you're going to have obstacles when planning something. What are things that you're going to find that you're successful at? Things that will keep you motivated that you're good at, and then what are things that are obstacles that you'll face, and what are you going to do when you get to that obstacle? So for example, if someone wants to eat more healthy, what are some obstacles that or what are some good, um, what are things they can be successful at? Well, they can list, for example, well, I'll be good at cooking. Maybe they're good at cooking. I can cook vegetables, or I can cook this, I can cook that, and that's healthy. Now, for an obstacle, they might think, okay, well, I'm not very good at cooking for me personally. So I had to go on a very specific diet with being pregnant, and that was a very challenge for me. That was a good challenge because I'm not much of a cook. So to face this challenge, I thought, okay, so what can I do to get more vegetables? So I bought a vegetable steamer, and now it's a very simple, easy vegetable steamer. And yes, exactly, that food can be more expensive, and that's how I found the solution for that obstacle, because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to eat vegetables or include that in my diet because it's not something simple that I can heat up or throw in the microwave or something. So what I did was I bought a steamer that was inexpensive, that does it in 2 minutes, and it's done and it's cheap and easy. So now I've eaten vegetables every single day. I've managed to make sure it's green vegetables, and that was a solution to my obstacle. So I think that that's important as well, that definitely you do want to see the obstacles and the challenges and what are realistic ways that they're going to be able to face that. One way that you can just do a quick lesson, and it can even be a digital lesson if you want, or if you work with children, I've done this as a kid or an adolescent, even if you teach teens, they all enjoy this kind of activity, but it's like a collage. It gets a bit messy when you do it, but if you have a bunch of magazines, you may have done something like this before. Get a poster board, you get magazines, and you create a goal or vision board. So what you do is you put something like this, you put your goals, and then you put pictures that represent your goals, quotes. You can put, different what you plan on doing, achieving, but it's something that you can hang up and that you can put on a wall. So a lot of students like it because it's something physical that they can put on their wall until they achieve their goals. And that is something really important. It's important that they constantly have some kind of symbols, or you can even put these in the classroom and they can visit them regularly, because that's one thing about our goals is we want to visit them regularly and we want to derive inspiration from them. Now you can do digital boards. You can create digital goal or vision boards. Pinterest is one way. If you do search for vision boards on Pinterest, then you're really, oh, thank you, Peggy. She put a good link there. Visualize your goals. And I think that even has a link to Pinterest and some of the vision boards on there. But there's a lot of people who will pin their different vision boards. I've used Pinterest with my learners from that are older students. So students that are in college and stuff, that's what I tend to teach now. I've taught 2-year-olds all the way to adults, and so tend to, my students currently are college students and teachers. So my college students, they love Pinterest. A lot of them really think Pinterest is great. So we use Pinterest a lot, and that's a way to get them to really easily create a vision board. It's a way for them to just, tag quotes, to be able to pin quotes, pin pictures, pin music, pin videos, so that it makes it multimedia. And of course, if something's multimedia, they're reading it, they're listening to it, they see articles about achieving these goals, and they get to pick and choose what will motivate them. So they can create a vision board for all their goals, and then they can also create one where it has different types of different types of goals and information about that specific goal. So let's say that if you want to do, for example, language learners, how are they going to improve their listening skills? Let's say that's one thing they want to do. They can create a vision board for that. They can also create a vision board specifically for running. Let's say it's something like health. They want to be able to run a half marathon. So they can create a Pinterest board for that. there's other things that they can use, other tools to create a board as well. You want to help them build a support network as well. We can't, we're tend to be more successful as somebody if we have a buddy. So you can have your students pair up together or work in small groups, and they can be responsible for, benchmarking, asking each other, how are you doing on your goals? We all need somebody to be our support network, okay? And you can give them ideas, and they can choose their pairs if they want. But that's one way to get them to keep throughout the year. And you can give them time to kind of do that. 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. Oh, thank you for sharing, Peggy, your Pinterest board of quotes. So how do we get our students to build a support network online? Well, now we have virtual learning environments like Schoology, Edmodo. There's wikis. They can create wikis. They can even embed their vision boards and their goal boards on their own wiki. Moodle, there's EduBlogs. They can blog about their progress. They can use something even like KidBlog. If you go to shellyterrell.com/BLE, you'll learn a lot about these. We even did a webinar on it, so you'll get the slides for those. But when they're a community together online, then they're able to be able to support each other. So they're finding their buddies there as well. Linolet and Padlet. Now, I started a long time ago in 2010 the goals with I started the goals with Padlet myself. Okay, so part of all of this is also getting, if you want to do this online, here are some great ways for them to create a free digital poster or vision board or goal board. So they can use tools like Edubuncy, TAC, Canva, ByteSlide. And actually, if you go to shellyterrell.com/poster, I think it's poster, or posters, then you'll be able to find that, all these resources, and even the webinar that went with that. So that's a good resource. Well, hopefully you all can hear me now. So sorry about that. Power went off, so we were able to restart it. Jake just restarted it, so sorry about that. But we'll definitely have the slides and everything like that there. But you can access all of these tools and apps, and those will help you create those vision boards that we were talking about here. But you can make it more digital and multimedia. And like I was saying before, the multimedia is because that way it adds to the skills, it adds to their listening, speaking, reading, writing skills. So all of this, one of the ideas I really like that a teacher shared that's in here today is Monica Champagne, and she also had some other teachers that I've listed at the bottom. They worked as a team to come up with this incredible passion project, and you can find it on her blog. She'll put the, hopefully, Monica, you can share the link there. And it's a really great slideshow. I mean, a slide presentation that actually has several, it leads to a Google slide or PDF, and you're able to see lots and lots of lesson ideas. Now, this is one particular one related to goals, but all of the ideas were really amazing. One of my favorite ones was a tic-tac-toe one, but I'm going to show you the one that they did for goals and specifically. So one of them is this was all of these are part of a passion project. And we did have a webinar on passion projects for 20% time that you can look up at the American TESOL, the youtube.com/user/ATESOL. You'll be able to find out about Genius Hour and stuff. But this one, what they do is Monica shares with the students a really powerful speech, which is Randy Posh's last lecture. And so after they're inspired by this video, and a lot of times with language learners, we often, or even learners, students in general, we use video to teach with or inspire them. So Randy Posh had cancer, and he gives this like he ended up dying, but he gives this really powerful speech of everything he accomplished in life. So that was really nice. And one of the activities that they have to follow up with this, it's an inspiring video in itself, but what they do with their students is here, they say your dash. Okay, so the activity is called your dash. They do put a motivational quote, which was something we talked about. And what they do is they have to make they say your dash is the time between your birth and death, and they want them to think about their life goals. And to here they use the VLE, or the community they use is Schoology. And so they have to list 15 to 30 things that they hope to accomplish during their dash, their lifetime. So that's getting that community support. And then what they do is it's sort of like getting a timeline out there too, so they can also make a timeline if they want. And we do have tools on the American TESOL blog where they can create a timeline if they want to do something like that instead. But they talk about them here, and then they also read a poem about their dash. And so this is one way to get them really motivated about their goals as well. So I really like this project. I think it kind of takes on a lot of activities that already were shared, and puts them all together in a really great project or something that's really easy. And of course, if you use Edmodo, you can have your students share there. You can have them share in small groups as well. When students are creating their own, so I have my students create on Padlet. They created their own statements, their own goal statements. And you can see this was in 2010. You can see it here at dasenglish.wikispaces.com/goal setting. And so when they do make their own personal statements, and I think that's really important, it's important to make specific and personal statements. So here, one of my students says, stated she will improve her speaking skills. She chose something very specific, and said what she wanted to do. The other thing that she does is, so this was the Padlet. Well, this was the where the students have their goals. See, you can see where my students have posted all of their goals here. Sorry, this slides are all over the place. It must be the power thing. But you can see each of them has their own personal goal statement. So that's the way I did it. They have to set due dates and times. So here she's saying she'll improve her grammar. She wants to do it. Now, I didn't tell them how they're doing this. They did it themselves. She's gonna improve by doing grammar exercise 15 minutes a day. That's what she wants to do. That's what works for her. Another of my students, you can have them tied into the routines. So every morning, the students, some of them, like this student, Monica, she listened to the radio station every morning when she drove into work. So she decided that that's what she would do. Instead, she would listen to an English station for 15 minutes a day or something like that. So I think that's also really good as well. Another student, make sure it ties into their interests. So these are just kind of last minute tips. One of my students said, I will improve my English by watching a movie in English twice a month because she was a movie person. That's what she liked to do. So one student wants to use the radio, one wants to use movies. So I think you leave it open to them, see what really motivates them, see what ties into their interests, see what they can commit to 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. I think all of that is really, really good when they make it specific to themselves and something that's manageable for them. So last minute things of things we've kind of already covered and things like that. If you in your classroom, I've done this with some teenagers when I was teaching teens, they really like this in adolescents. You get a butcher paper, and then you have where they can post their goals there in writing. They just write all over the butcher paper. They share quotes, they share motivational songs, and they see that every day, and they can add to that every day. They can put a lot of different they can put post-it notes, they can write, and the students love that. They really just love being able to write. They can't write on the walls. You can, if you use something like idea paint, you can do that and dedicate a wall to where they just all write in it every day, and they can put a lot of motivational stuff to encourage them to succeed in their goals. They can even post pictures. Let's say that they're trying to do better distance, and then they can track their distance every day. And it's just one wall with butcher paper that I had it. Their goal collages, you can have that on the walls as well, or you can have it on their own wall in their room. They let them take that home and have it as part of the room. You can have a Flickr or Instagram group. You can where the different ones can post pictures um, on the different photos of in motivational quotes. It doesn't have to be them, but maybe it is. Maybe they're on a team, a soccer team or something like that. And then they can be able to post whenever they score this many baskets, if for example they're trying to improve their scoring of baskets, or maybe they're going to improve their trying to learn how to build something, and maybe they post pictures, like what they can even put in their um, online virtual accounts, Schoology, Edmodo, which is more protective. You can post somewhere motivational videos, or show them a place where they can visit motivational videos or quotes. You can share it on their class blog. You can share, or have them share it in a class blog. Things that motivate them. I know one of the goals that I have for teachers is um, to create their own teacher manifestos. And one of the inspiring goal videos from that we often share is the Hallister. I think it's the Hallister Manifesto. I never pronounced that right. And that's a really motivational video on achieving goals. Celebrating achievements often. These were all ways: the quote wall, the goal collage, the Instagram photos, just photos shared on the Schoology, things like that. These are all ways of benchmarking and celebrating their achievements. Benchmarking progress at intervals, and then constant reflection in a blog or journal. Those are a part of goal setting. So you can find a lot of these if you go to these ideas. More specifically, if you go to bit.ly /Shelly, you do have to capitalize this: New Year goals. Now, this was an old post that I wrote for ESL Library, but you can still find things there. If you scroll up the chat, you can find a lot of other links where I've written about goal setting Peggy George shared one link that I have on my blog at Teacher Bootcamp about vision boards and envisioning your goals. It's important as teachers that we also set some of our own goals. And so I've created 30goals.com, and you can join that for free. There's also a book that you can get with that. Here, 30goals.com. There's a lot of goals related. One is the first chapter is Envision Your Greatness. That's a good one. There's one creating a teacher manifesto. And then there's one about mapping out your ideas and achieving, like creating plans. And that one's chapter 25, manifest an idea. So that's one thing that is that you're able to. Thank you so much, Auntie B and Peggy, for giving kudos to the book. There is a reflection in blogging, so it's already in there. You have pages where after accomplishing a goal, then you can write down, what was the success, what were the challenges, things like that. Part of this book was researching goal methods, like motivational books on how people achieve goals, and that's what I based it on. But one of the reasons why I think it's really important to try and achieve some of your own goals is if your students know you're in this too, then I think that it's really great to be able to or it's great modeling. It's like back to what they tell us about Banduta. Our students learn a lot about what we model. So if they see that we're have goals and that we're trying to achieve them as well, then that's not us telling them to do something. It's us joining with them, and also pursuing our own goals and passions as well. In the 30 goals, you accomplish a goal, you reflect, you share your reflection, and then you get feedback in our community. So you can do that as well. Those are free to join. You can go to facebook.com/group/30goals, or you can share with the hashtag 30goalsedu or at 30goalsedu. You can see where we share a lot of different types of we share a lot of different posts and things of people accomplishing goals as well. Like the sketch note, that was one of the ones we did this year. So where people sketch note an idea and things like that. So we do a lot of things that were suggested for the student. You go through yourself to be able to see what helps you achieve goals. And that's it. So thank you so much for joining. Sorry about those technical difficulties, and hopefully in the recording and everything, it'll be much better. The slides will be up in about hopefully 15 minutes. So that way, if you missed anything, that you'll be able to get them there. Just click on this link, which is my slide shares, and you'll be able to find lots of the ones from the past. And then, of course, on our YouTube channel, you're going to be able to find the recordings. The recordings are probably not going to be up until the end of February. I don't take care of the YouTube channel. So, but I know it's the break time. So our administrators and stuff are on holiday. So it might be a little while until, but you can enjoy the hundreds of other YouTube webinar videos. And so I might not see you next week because of the baby, but I definitely will see you hopefully the second week of January. So thank you all so much, and thank you for your patience. And I will see you in a few weeks.